Welcome to the State Statute Tour for the Utah Association of Public Charter Schools. Trying to find specific state information to a question can be quite difficult sometimes. By giving you an overview of how state resources are laid out, we hope to make the search easier. Understanding the process of how decisions are made will also help you know where to look. While charter schools can make independent decisions for their schools, they still have to follow the requirements set out by multiple bodies within the government. For the purposes of this discussion, we're going to ignore the federal government and focus only on the state of Utah. The beginning point is the Utah Legislature. They meet beginning in January to propose bills. Those bills are sent to committee where they will discuss the specific details. Committees vote on which bills to return to the full body. A bill must be proposed, discussed in committee, and approved by the full body in both the House and Senate. If the passed House bill and Senate bill don't align, they need to be adjusted and voted on the same version. If the same version of a bill passes the committees and a full vote in both the House and Senate and is not vetoed by the governor, then it becomes a law. All of this needs to happen during the 45-day legislative session. Frequently, the media will discuss a hot topic bill that is in committee or has only been approved by one body. Many people think that it is already a law and become very concerned. Many of these hot topics never make it out of committee, but board members or parents become concerned that they need to implement the change immediately. That is not the case. Laws will be given an effective date to give everyone time to come into compliance with the new law. Frequently, other bodies further down the pyramid need to implement rules or clarifying details before schools can know exactly what they need to do. Throughout this process and after a vote, you can find the exact wording and requirements online. The website of the Utah Legislature is le.utah.gov. On the toolbar at the top, you can review proposed bills being discussed during the legislative session under the Bills tab. If you click on the Code tab at the top, you can see any approved and current laws, and you can search by code number or keyword. Laws that apply to schools can be found in many sections that apply to employment or public access. However, education-specific code can be found under Title 53. Recently, this section of code was renumbered to make things cleaner. If an old document refers to a code titled 53A, it is an old code number. The state created a chart to convert old codes to new codes. If you can't find what you're looking for, you may need to refer to the state chart or crosswalk for recodified numbers to find what you were looking for. At the end of the legislative session, the Utah State Board of Education, or USBE, issues a document called the Legislative Update or Public Education Summary. This is frequently released in April. Sometimes a copy of this report is given to your school leader. There are never enough copies, and board members need to keep an eye out for when this document is released. Board members can find a digital copy at www.schools.utah.gov/policy/legislative session under the Public Education Summary tab. This document does not always stay online long term. It is recommended that you download a copy so you can retain it for your reference. The beginning of the document lists some general information, but about 1/3 of the way through begins the summary of each individual bill. House bills are labeled HB, followed by their number. Senate bills are SB, followed by their number. This summary is extremely brief, but you want to look specifically at the box that says LEA action. Charter schools are LEAs, or local education agencies, so this box tells you what, if anything, your school needs to do. Many bills will simply say awareness, which means for you it is informational. It also lists the effective date and a USBE contact if you have questions after reading the bills. Bills that say to create or update policy means that you need to update your policy manual. Make sure you begin this process with adequate time to review the items in committee, followed by a board meeting, and still meet the required effective date. Once a bill becomes an education law, USBE will possibly create an administrative rule which gives more specifics about how this law will be implemented. Rules can also be created to solve problems and do not have to begin only as laws. This process is much the same as one outlined above, where USBE has committees that hammer out details before the proposed rule is brought before the full board for a vote. Rules may have to go back and forth between the full board and the committee many times before consensus is reached. This process can happen throughout the school year. Make sure your school leader shares these rules with your board as they pass or assign a board member to review the monthly USBE agenda to see what new rules are passed. A complete list of all state administrative rules can be found at rules.utah.gov. Education rules are typically found under the title R277 or can be searched for by keyword. USBE's website has many resources to help you understand how to implement their rules. On their site at schools.utah.gov, under the Schools and Educators tab, you can find detailed information on particular topics like school fees, graduation requirements, or teaching license requirements. This is a great place to start when trying to familiarize yourself with a new topic. Additional resources such as sample policies, PowerPoint presentations, and staff contacts are often included. The Data and Statistics link gives the public access to multiple years of testing statistics for all schools. This is a great tool for understanding how you compare against nearby schools, obtain data for marketing campaigns, or identify your weaknesses. Board members do not need to rely on school staff to share this information. The next level in the pyramid is the Charter School Authorizer. For the vast majority of charter schools in Utah, this is the State Charter School Board, or SCSB. The State Charter School Board and their staff oversee charter schools by approving new schools, ensuring that existing schools are performing well, and helping or closing schools who are not performing. Details about the process involved to start or replicate a school are outlined on their website at utahscsb.org. Other authorizers include school districts and public institutions of higher learning. It is vital to work with your authorizer to follow the accountability measures established in your charter with them. Since most charter schools are authorized by the State Charter School Board, we will address working with them. Most important to the existing schools will be understanding the Charter School Accountability Framework. All schools will undergo annual review and deeper 5-year reviews. The framework lists the rubric by which your school will be judged. This timetable for review was adopted recently. Too many older boards feel that they're okay because they're doing things the way they've always been done. But they will be caught unaware when they undergo their new review. Don't wait until your review is imminent to make sure you're in compliance. Much of the data used is recorded throughout the 5 years, and it will be apparent if you have waited until the last minute. You will find good resources, such as a list of all state-required policies and an annual reporting calendar under the Run a Charter School tab. All board members need to understand that the contract to run your school is signed between your school board and the SCSB. The role of the board, not the school leader, is to make sure that the school is in compliance. Do not abdicate your responsibility. By using these resources, you will be able to ensure that your school is doing what they need to be doing. Do not rely on word of mouth or old information to make crucial decisions. If board members are not familiar with how to research topics themselves, they will be at the mercy of school staff. You cannot provide adequate oversight of an individual if you rely on them for all your information. Knowing how to access available resources is vital to performing your oversight role. We hope this has helped to direct you to be able to find laws, rules, and accountability measures. We wish you all the best in governing your school. This training was brought to you by a grant from the Utah State Charter School Board.